Thank you for joining us. I'm Lorelei Shmayo. We're interviewing the practitioners, the readers, healers, and vendors that are sharing their work at the Metaphysical Empowerment Fairs. And so right now I'm interviewing Dylan. So welcome, Dylan. And Dylan, tell us what it is that you do. What will you be sharing at our events?
Thank you so much for having me, Lorelei. So basically what my primary focus is in the world of healing arts is integrating fractured aspects of self and traumatic experiences / belief systems that are limiting us from living fulfilled lives, as well as attracting the things that we genuinely want to experience within our life. I also practice polarity therapy and just, my own intuitive energy work and act as a conduit for healing to occur through that avenue. I have sessions that are primarily talking, where I, go through any current problem that may be arising within an individual's life and see what kind of limiting belief systems are playing out, or what may be reflecting through their external environment that is a reflection of their internal dialogue or relationship with themselves. So there's a lot that those sessions are definitely, you really have no idea what's going to happen. And that's kind of primarily how the work that I do happens. I'm also a certified completion process facilitator, which was an emotional trauma resolution modality that was created by the internationally recognized spiritual teacher called Teal Swan. Basically, this modality works by utilizing a current day trigger to then dive into the emotional response to that trigger, to then utilize the emotion to act as a rope that goes back to an original point of trauma, where we can then commune and bring resolve to the child aspects of self that endured that trauma, as well as collect the fractured aspects of self, or even like your soul, that happen at that point of trauma through disassociation.
So what can you say a little bit about what the healing is like that you're doing? Like, give me a sense of what's going on.
So basically, our life our life ends up being filled with a variety of triggers. These triggers, like say you were to look at someone with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Someone with PTSD ends up, after they've gotten away from the traumatic experiences, ends up having current day triggers, which is basically a small stimulus that creates an extreme emotional reaction within the individual. And our triggers limit us from living fulfilled lives. Oftentimes people they aren't able to participate in certain experiences, or they're not able to go around certain things. And our traumatic experiences really define and create how we perceive the world around us.
Well, I guess could you jump to, so what is it that you're doing with someone as they're sharing? So as they're sharing, you're identifying where those triggers, where those issues are, and then what is the healing that you're doing? What is that like?
So basically what I am doing is I am identifying where their triggers are, and even possibly triggering an individual to where we can have something to work with. If a person just walks into the room, just doing just fine, sure, we can, do some kind of work with that. But the bulk of the work that I do is basically lingering within the subconscious mind. So if we are able to trigger an emotional response, then I can facilitate and hold space and guide people through the different levels of emotion. And there's basically different layers to emotion. And at certain layers, we're able to access certain points of trauma, or a root trauma that primarily occurred within childhood. So I'm holding space for the individual, as well as observing signs of release, body language, and also becoming acutely emotionally attuned to the individual to feel what is happening within them. I also will get certain intuitions for suggestions for things that could be introduced to, say, creating resolve when we're working with the original point of trauma, that oftentimes aid very well to the experience. So it's a huge mix. I'm basically doing all of these different things at once, but primarily holding space and facilitating. It's kind of like the way that Teal puts it is like emotional midwifery. So it's like I'm helping out a rebirthing process for an individual and doing everything that it takes for that.
Oh, I get that. So someone might come in thinking they want to talk about a particular topic, and you may be following the threads of it, and it goes to something completely different that they don't expect, but that's what's underlying.
Yes.
Yeah, great, great. And so do you work just with people sitting in chairs, or what does it look like?
Actually, okay, so traditionally the modality is utilized with people sitting in chairs, but for me, I've found that if, let's say the individual walks in and they're super angry, something pissed them off that day, I may actually catalyze their emotional trigger to be more accentuated by having them bang on something, or like smashing a tennis racket on a mat, or, you know, something that could stimulate a cathartic release where we can then move through that anger, because anger actually acts as a cover emotion to lower vibrational emotional states, to then access like a, say, a core emotional state of like powerlessness that lies beneath the anger, and then we could dive into that and work from there.
Oh, great, great.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine to some extent the types of topics that you work on at a fair might be a little different than at a private session. It might not go quite as deep, or...
Yeah, at the fair, I primarily would probably be doing more of energy work, or verbal sessions where I have someone come to me with maybe what is bothering them the most right now in their current life experience, or maybe they have some kind of question, and we take an in-depth look at what aspects of themselves may be in alignment for whatever it is that they desire, or what belief systems may be limiting them, and how we would find a core belief system and change that. So at the fair, it will be definitely more of an intuitive reading process and questioning.
Mm-hmm. Great. Sounds great. Well, I appreciate you sharing about what you do. Really exciting. I appreciate just the range of all the different things that we have at the fair and all the different practitioners, and just amazing work. I just can feel as you talk about it, it just feels lovely. Very exciting. You're welcome.
I'm really excited to participate in this fair, and I'm really glad that you guys are having me.
Oh, it's great. Happy to have you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching. There are going to be more video interviews from our different vendors, readers, and healers. So we look forward to seeing you. Our website is metaphysicalempowermentevents.com.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome, Dylan.